Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, man, you know this don't work without you guys. So, I'm down here at my in-laws' house, doing some work for them, trying to. We took a bathtub out, and we're making a shower on the lower level. My mother-in-law is going to have a knee joint replacement in a couple of weeks, and we're going to have them living down on the lower level. So I'm on the roads. That's why I'm not in my man cave and stuff. But I'll be going back tomorrow night, so we'll do our live stream from there. You know, this year has not gone the way we would have liked it to have gone. In many ways, it's a disappointment. And sadly, it's like that sometimes. You know, we would have loved to have had the season go, we're 16-0, roll right on through the playoffs and get that Super Bowl trophy. Because, I want to have that feeling that the Eagle fans have had recently. That holding up that trophy and being able to talk trash because you're world champions. And so when you look back over the course of the last 10 years, you got to say that it was wasted time. Because in the end, in the NFL, there's only one team that's happy at the end. And so it's sad because we've seen some great players. I mean, you know that DeMarcus Ware and Jason Witten, they'll be in the Hall of Fame. We know we will see them at the Hall of Fame ceremonies. We've seen Tony Romo do some incredible things. I mean, one of these things that will forever be etched in my mind is just like the Hail Mary, because I remember seeing the Hail Mary. I'm old enough that I was alive and remember the Hail Mary. But just like the Hail Mary, Tony Romo getting away from J.J. Watt. When J.J. Watt had him dead to rights, Tony Romo did like a Houdini. Gets out, 360 around, and has his eyes downfield and hits Terrence Newman for a touchdown. You'll remember DeMarco Murray's 2014 season. You remember Dez Bryant just elevating above people, getting the ball away from people. You'll remember Tyron Smith literally with just one arm just throwing guys out the way. All of these great players and great plays that ended up being short of enough to get that Super Bowl. Hopefully we'll see some of the players we have on this team in the Hall of Fame. Amari Cooper, maybe, if he can stay healthy and continues like he has the last season and a half. Maybe Zeke Elliott, if he can stay on the field and stay healthy, to prolong his career. And who knows, maybe Dak, if he progresses and gets those numbers and gets that ring, that maybe that guy will be there, along with a Tyron Smith and maybe a Travis Frederick or a Zach Martin. We've had great players. And I want you to think about this. I'm sitting here talking about possibilities of players that may be Hall of Fame caliber. Think about a team like the Texans that don't have a single player yet in the Hall of Fame. And we're sitting here looking at players that have done exceptional in the NFL. And we've wasted that talent. We can't change those 10 years. And kind of like, there's a house that I had down here, Foursquare house, that I absolutely fell in love with. This house had broken glass in the doors. It looked like it was the middle of the jungle because the growth and stuff had grown over top of it. It looked like a mess. I mean, complete mess. And I think for about 15, 20 years, nobody had lived in it. And I got the plywood off the front door, and I went inside of it, and the bones and the structure of the house were still strong. It was a mess. Don't believe me. It was a mess. The plaster was crumbling and things like that, and it was a mess. Windows were shot. But there was one thing about that house that I absolutely fell in love with, was this newel post, this big, like 7-inch ball on the post that was on there. And when I stepped on the stairs, they were solid as a rock. It was a mess. Most people said, you're going to tear it down and build something new, right? And I said, no. I said, we've got the basis here to make an incredible house. And we went in, we did the work on it. We gutted it out, but we kept those bones and that structure there. You know, we ended up putting in new electric, new plumbing in there, new drywall. We replaced the windows. And here it is, 15 years later, that house that's 120 years old looks incredible. Doesn't look anything like the mess that it was. And that's what we need now as a coach. We got some good pieces, but we need to do some rewiring. We need some new plumbing to get the shit out. We need some window dressing and some new windows and some insulation. But the basis is there. The thing that you look at when you try and build a team, and you can look at a lot of teams right now that have big question marks, is a quarterback. Whether you believe in Dak Prescott or not, you got to look around a situation, say, like the Redskins. You got to look at the situation, say, Tennessee, although they may have found one in Tannehill. You got to look at San Diego. You got to look at teams like Denver. They're still trying to figure out who is going to be the quarterback. You've got a guy who's improving every year. If Dak Prescott just does what he did from last year to this year, from this year to next year and the year after, where do you think he's going to be by year 7 and 8? Where do you think he's going to be by year 7 and 8? Be pretty good. You got a running back. You've got an offensive line. It's a little nicked up. It will get a little old. You get a piece here or a piece there that helps out. All of a sudden, you're back where you were. You've got some pieces on defense, but you definitely need to shore up some things in this Cowboys house. And you need somebody with vision that can look at this mess and say, this is what we need to focus on first. So we're looking at is a college man. Now, my uncle, who got me started in carpentry, I don't know that he graduated high school. He used to always have a thing that he said, educated fools, when it came to college people. So he grew up learning in the field. It wasn't that, I got that college education. He learned by doing. I'm not saying that the college coaches are the educated fools, but I kind of want somebody who's been there before, who's tasted success. And in the 10 years that we've had Jason Garrett, you look at Ron Rivera, and I talk about him, and people are like, oh, screw him, he's no good. He's a defensive-minded guy. I've talked about him before. Other people have been talking about Mike McCarthy. Well, Mike McCarthy, he's an offensive guy. I mean, he's a guy who's not going to help you on defense. If you're thinking that Chris Richard is going to become your defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, and you give him full autonomy, and you see, okay, what are we going to get from him, as opposed to him trying to run another man's defense? Because you can say that Chris Richard's his booty, as one guy does, and run the defense. But you could look at Kyle Shanahan with the Washington Redskins, or you could look at, I'm having a brain fart here. Keep having these brain fogs. The Rams coach, both of which were with a booty-ass team in the Washington Redskins, but right now have done miracles with offense. You follow what I'm saying there? Once they got the chance to go ahead and do their thing, as opposed to trying to do somebody else's, they flourished. Mike McCarthy, you got to look at it and say, yeah, the last 2 years he had weren't good. But that was a team that got old. See, they built a lot of young talent. They had a strong defense. They had Aaron Rodgers in his young days. And they went on, they won a Super Bowl. The problem for them was they got old and didn't replenish. They kept living too long on the talent that they had. And that's where it came through and kind of dropped off. And I have this thing, it's my theory, of coaching fatigue. After about 5 years, you need to change the scenery. Very few coaches succeed after that 5-year window. Players start tuning them out. Other teams start figuring their plays out. And it ends up being that it's just time to go. And that's what happened with Mike McCarthy with Green Bay. I don't know if Mike McCarthy is the right answer, but I can look at it and say he's 125 and 77, even with that 7-win season and a 4-win season to end. He's 10-8 in the playoffs. 10-8. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to NFC championships. He's won his division more times than not. On a resume, you got to say that that would be an improvement over what we have. I don't know if he's the answer, but I think the Dallas Cowboys need to take a look at everything and start getting focused on what they want, because you're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be looking for coaches. We know the Redskins are. You got to figure that Dan Quinn's going to be out with Atlanta. We already know Ron Rivera's out with Carolina. There's going to be other ones that are out there. San Diego may be without a coach. So you're going to have a mad scramble for the people that are out there. And we need to do our due diligence and get ready to try and get somebody. So that's what I got to say about that. And I see Michael Anthony Fitness is over here looking at me like, Dad, we got work to do. So I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm going to go get to work. I'll see you soon.